We did a ride yesterday, 95, 96 Ks, 1,530 metres climbing. Anyhow, I always find the next day I'm ravenously hungry. Trying to eat healthy is beetroot, carrot and apple juice. But I always end up eating biscuits. There's my shoes drying out from yesterday's ride, and look at that mud. You pick it out with a screwdriver. I'm sure there's some cow in this as well. Makes it extra sticky. So here's the bike from the ride on the weekend with the guys. And before I cleaned the bike, I had a look at the back tyre because I knew it was getting down a bit. Anyway, you know how they flatten off a bit and they start to get square on top, and there's tread on the side but not on the top because you don't go around corners. No, it usually happens to the rear wheel. So I was looking at it and I thought, oh, there's a bit of mud, there's a bit of mud, there's that, a bit of mud. That's not a bit of mud. And sure enough, on close inspection, it's down to the underlayer, the tread's worn through. So, and a couple of places where it's worn down. So anyway, the tyre needs replacing. More money. And this is a 25C, and I've got one left, only one left, mostly 28s now, right? So, and it's a red one, red wall. What do you think? Red line, red wall, do you like that? Some riders love it, some riders hate it, some don't mind it, reckon it look cool. Anyway, I've got one left, so I might as well use it up. Graphene Rubino Pro, like those tyres. Now I could put 28 on this air road, but it would be too close to the frame here. So if a stone flicks up on your wheel and gets caught in there, or a stick or something, and goes along your frame because your tyre's too close in there, no, I think I'll just stick to the 25s on this. The other bike, so this bike takes 28s and 30 tyres easy. No problems, heaps of room on them. These are 28s on at the moment, so I think I'm going to go 30s just to try them out. Nice and comfy. So what do you reckon? Black tyres. See, the plain black looks good on these wheels, doesn't it, on this bike? Matches quite nicely. Should I go plain black on these now? I think I will, because the red ones are getting hard to find anyway in 28Cs from the market. I don't know. Let us know in the comments. So how to change your tyre or your tube, maybe on the side of the road or your home, doesn't matter, like a pro. Let's make it look like you know what you're doing, you've been doing it for years. Easy done, let's show you. First put your chain on the smallest cog at the back and the small one at the front. So if there's a tree around with a branch sticking out, hang your bike from the seat on the tree, be careful, otherwise you don't want your bike to fall off. Or you can turn it upside down on the back of the seat and on your lever hoods, mind your Garmin, your head unit or whatever you got on there. You don't want to scratch on sticks and rocks and whatever. And that way you can get access to your rear wheel to get it off. It's a lot easier. Remove your rear wheel, through axle or quick release, whatever you got. This one's through axle. Pull your rear derailleur back and your wheel comes straight out. Hold your chain. Deflate your tyre if you haven't already got a puncture. Let as much air out as you can, all the way. Make sure I'll do. Now you've probably all seen this yourself. There's 5 guys standing around, 3 tyre levers stuck in trying to pry the tyre off.
Trying to get a tyre back on this rim was a nightmare. The other one was easy, I do it with my hand.
Well, none of that's necessary. You shouldn't even need a tyre lever, and you should be able to do it all by yourself. Now these are Reynolds Strike rims, carbon rims, so they're medium difficulty in getting a tyre off. Some are harder and some are easier, but I'll just show you with these ones. Even with the harder ones, you can still do it. Now these are clincher rims, not tubular or tubeless. There's a tube inside there. So first thing is note where your valve is, your valve hole. Always start and finish at your valve. First thing is break the seal of the tyre away from the rim around the beading. So you can use your thumbs if you want, or I advise use this part of your hand, the palm of your hand there, down there. So you push it away, or using your thumbs, push it away and start the valve hole and go all the way around. And sometimes you'll feel it, you'll go click and feel it come away. It'll be stuck on and you unstick it. So make sure you go all the way around. And you stop at your valve again, and then turn your wheel around and do the other side. So you've got to do both sides. get proficient at that, you'll be able to do it really fast. So your tyre is now loose on the rim. With your valve up the top, rest the wheel on the ground and grab your tyre like that with your thumb and your finger here. You see that? So both hands, just grab and give it a bit of a wiggle and sort of push down toward the ground at the same time. And when you get to about here, it's a lot easier to push down and you can grab a lot better. So twist, wiggle and push down toward the ground. And keep going. And then when you get to about here, bring it up, push it into your tummy, rest it on your knees if you want, and then you can push it the rest of the way. And you find your tyres quite baggy down the bottom here. See that? Turn your wheel 180 degrees so your valve is near the ground now, and you should find the top of the tyre here is really baggy. You should be able to just grip it, both sides, and pull it over the rim like this. See? It's loose, it just comes straight off. Boom. Your tyre sits on the rim like this, with the beads held onto the rim by the rim hooks. When you release the tyre inwards from the rim walls, then wriggle it along in one direction, the tyre beads move from the rim hooks to this position, more towards the centre of your rim and also inwards towards the spokes. So effectively, you've moved your tyre from being exactly central on your wheel to being slightly off-centre, and this gives you the slack you need at one end of your wheel to easily slide your tyre off. New tyre, and just to show you, these are Veloflex tyres. They're a racing tyre, and don't go riding with ultralight tyres on your bike, they'll puncture easy. These Veloflex are shocking. I think I got a puncture every time I went out with them. And if there's a slightest sniff of a prickle in the road or a small stone, and they'll puncture or get a nick in them. And I think one of them's got damage down here, even from just getting it off. So racing tyres may be alright for super duper clean conditions or track racing. That's about it. Don't waste your money and fool around with tyres. You're going to be stopping almost every ride, fixing a puncture. No good. Get yourself a half decent tyre that at least doesn't flat on every ride that you do. These are Rubino Pro Graphines. I find really nice. They're light enough, but they're extremely puncture resistant as well. Victoria. Used to get stickers with these tyres. I like those stickers. You don't get them anymore. So unravel the tyre, put it in approximate shape, take those little bits out, give it an approximate shape of the wheel. Foldable, goes all weird and funny. Once you put it on the rim, it's alright. Okay, now the first thing you do is find your direction arrow. There's usually an arrow somewhere on most tyres now, and it shows you the arrow of direction of which the wheel rotates. So find a little arrow so that you don't put your tyre on backwards. That's the way your wheel rotates, so you put the arrow so it points that way. Put one edge of your tyre or the beading inside your rim here, all the way around. Again, you can put it in your tummy and rest it on your knees. It just sits on there. So it's half on. Now some bike riders have to be super cool or pedantic, whatever you want to call it, and have the writing of the tyre lined up with your valve hole. So wherever you want to put the writing, your tyre slides along, put it wherever you want. For me, it doesn't really matter. As long as the tyre's on in the right rotating direction, it's the main thing. Now just put a little bit of air in your tube so it takes shape. You can either use a pump or you can just blow it in. And tighten the little knob up on the end so the air doesn't escape, so your tube stays in shape. Pull the tyre back a little bit so it exposes the valve hole. Put the valve in and let it fold back over like that. And just tuck your tube in nicely with your fingers all the way around. So it just sits there. Now either use your thumbs or better, the palm of your hand, and just push the other side of that tyre in like that and go all the way around. Make sure you're not leaving any of the tube out. Make sure it's tucked in. Now get a little bit harder toward the end here. Push your valve up to make sure the tyre is sitting down and your tube's not being pinched between the tyre and the rim. And you can also put your valve extender on. That might help to push it up as well. So just make sure it's sitting in right there. With your valve up the top, do the same thing. Just wiggle it down like that. And it'll get looser toward the bottom. And use the palm of your hand, this part of your hand where you can see the marks there, the black marks. And you can start from one end and just push it on. See how the tube is getting jammed in here? You don't want that, so push your tube in a bit, just with your finger, and then you tuck it in. And you can work from this side as well. So use this part of your hand because it's getting a bit harder now. If you find it too hard, do the same thing, do the wiggle trick and wiggle it down. Toward where it's off. And eventually it just pops on. Once you get the hang of this, you'll do it really, really quick. And even if you have to do a little bit, instead of going bang, bang, just go 1 millimetre at a time or 2 millimetres at a time and it'll go on. So you just popped on there. Now you've probably seen it before, and I've seen it plenty of times before. There's a guy will get out a CO2 canister, put it on the valve, psh, the next minute, bang, the tyre blows off the rim. He's now wasted a tube, wasted a CO2 canister, and how many guys' ears are ringing now? And now he's got to put in a new tube, and he's got to have either another CO2 canister or a pump with him to pump the tyre up. So all because he didn't check to make sure the tube is tucked up into the tyre properly. It only takes 30 or 40 seconds. Go around and make sure the tube's tucked up. It's not jammed between the bead of the tyre and the rim beading. Pump your tyre up to about 40 or 50 pounds per square inch. I'm using a floor pump. I'm allowed to because I'm home. You can either spin the wheel, and you can see there's some downs in the rim. You can see it's obvious. It's going boom, boom. Now that's normal because you just need to push the tyre up. So where it's down, just use again using the palm of your hand and just click it up. So here's one here, down, and it pops in. Another one. There you go. And course check both sides. And often it will pop in as you're pumping it up. One final check to make sure the tyre is sitting evenly on both sides and you're done. Wheel back on and you're ready to roll. Now it's always good to learn something, isn't it? So this is a tyre we took off the bike. It's no good anymore. We're going to throw it away, which is a shame because really you only use a little bit of the tread and then you get this whole lot of material which we throw away in the bin. In fact, here's some of the tyres that I've used over the past 2 years. Now I can add that one, and what a waste because you only use a little bit of the tread and the rest we throw away. So this is the Vittoria Rubino Pro 2 graphene tyre, and it's a foldable tyre, so you can twist it into all different sorts of shapes, fold it up into a very small package, and it's great for storage or sending through the post because it's very small. Unlike its counterpart, the wire-on tyre, which are a little bit cheaper than the foldable ones, they don't twist up into a small shape. They stay relatively round because it's got wire, steel wire in there. And they're also a little bit heavier than the foldable tyres. Now you can fold the steel beaded tyre, do it twice like that, or you can actually do it 3 times to make it even smaller. First of all, small circle at the top, then you bring the centre in like that. So you've got 3, and that to there, and that to there. So you can fold it 3 times. Ready? Without damaging the bead. Now with our flexible tyre, what makes it so flexible is the beading itself. Instead of being wire, it's something else. Now let's cut open some of the casing of the tyre and see what the beading is made of. And a pair of side snips, and let's cut the square out. Most foldable tyres use Kevlar as their bead. It's called Continuous Filament Fabrication, or CFF Kevlar. Each filament is extremely fine. It's more like strands of fur than hair. And there's lots of them. This is only half the amount in the bead. The rest is still tucked away there in the casing. It has high strength in one direction, 8 times that of steel with a similar size, yet it's flexible in the other direction. It's damage, fatigue and stress resistant, does not melt unless of course you want to go above 800 degrees Fahrenheit, does not readily decompose or shrink and has great chemical stability. Guess you could say it's almost bulletproof. All done, we'll see you on the road. There's Russell, tall Russell. What are you about, 6'2"? 6'2", Russell.
We're going over this roof.
Well, about 20% at least. It's only shallow for you.
Watch out, the cycle's coming.
Might be quicker to walk.
Not that far behind.
Oi! Okay, yep.
Ladies' toilet.
It's ladies' toilet.
It's alright, I sat down.
You sat down.